Torah Life Ministries come out of the world. Messiah people seek the truth.
Well, shalom Torah fans, this is Michael Rood. These are our final hours in getting ready for the 7th Sabbath of the counting of the Omer. And then the following day, Shavuot. We've got a group that's coming in from around the world, and we are broadcasting around the world for this Shavuot. And this is so exciting because when the sun sets, this will be the anniversary when Israel became a nation in one day, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah, that the nation of Israel would be born at once, that the earth would bring forth at once. Israel will become a nation in one day. And it happened on the 7th Sabbath of the counting of the Omer, according to the astronomically and agriculturally corrected biblical Hebrew calendar, the Creator's calendar. Not according to the rabbinic calendar. The ancient calendar had not been restored in 1948. No one had ever even been thinking about it. And so this is a momentous occasion that we're here together for this. And we have Paul Nissan, who is like the pioneer, the granddaddy of them all for raw foods, who's coming in for the training of these Hanukkah warriors who are going to go forth from this Shavuot and turn the world upside down. Ladies and gentlemen, you have got to be here for this. This is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Don't miss it. This is Michael Rood bidding you shalom, peace, and we'll see you at Shavuot. And around the world, I am Michael Rood. Welcome to our studio here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Good to have all of you here. We welcome you from Charlotte all around the world, even those of you who are up in the middle of the night, South Africa, all over Europe, in the Middle East. And this is a warm Hanukkah welcome from your Hanukkah warriors in Charlotte. We have good sound so we can hear. When we came out of Egypt, we were instructed that when we came into the Promised Land, that we were to count every year from the day of the first fruit offering, from the Bikurim, we were then to count 7 Sabbaths. And after the 7th Sabbath, the following day, we would have a convocation, we would have a celebration of the Feast of Sevens. Shavuot in Hebrew. Shavuot 7, oath plural, is literally the Feast of Sevens, because we just got through counting 7 Sabbath days, and the following day is the day of celebration. We did this faithfully, and even up until the year 2005, after doing this faithfully year after year, generation after generation, and even in the land of Israel, all of the Messianic Jews meeting in the land of Israel at the southern steps of the Temple Mount, we asked ourselves on the day of Shavuot, why did we just get through counting these 7 Sabbaths? Now, I could easily answer and say, well, it's because it's a prophetic shadow picture of good things to come. And then everyone would say, okay, well, what was the prophetic shadow picture of good things to come? Is it something that Yeshua already fulfilled or something that he will fulfill? And so it was a question that we asked ourselves every single year. But in the year 2005, while I was completing the calculations on the astronomically and agriculturally corrected biblical Hebrew calendar and developing the detail of the Jonah Code, that is when an idea hit me in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, what if the rabbinites, what if the Pharisees added an Adar bet onto that year in 1948 when Israel became a nation in one day, and Israel became a nation on one day on a completely innocuous date on the rabbinic calendar? What if they added an Adar bet onto that year and it wasn't even necessary? Well, the first thing I had to do is go back to 1946 and then plot the visible sighting of the new moon for the entire year, 1946, 1947, so that I could find how the moons fall into where I would be sure that I would have the month of the Aviv. Once I found that, I found it in 1946. Through 1947, I come to 1948, and there I look, and sure enough, according to the parameters of when the barley is aviv in the land of Israel and when it's not aviv, a calculation that we worked out over a 12-year period of time of trying to ascertain when the barley is aviv in Israel, when the year actually begins. When I got to 1948, I saw Israel, in fact, in 1948, the Rabbinites, the Pharisees, added an Adar bet, and it wasn't necessary. My heart just leaped in my chest at that point. Now, I don't know if this means anything yet, but then I calculate. Okay, so this is now the month of the Aviv. Here's the first sliver of the new moon. I count in 14 days. This is when the Passover sacrifice is offered. Now I find, after the weekly Sabbath, now I find the day of the Bikurim. Now I begin counting 7 Sabbaths. I turn the page. My heart starts racing. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th Sabbath in 1948, May 15th. Israel becomes a nation in one day on the 7th Sabbath of the counting of the Omer. This is why the Almighty said, when you get into the land, you count the Omer, you count it every single year. You count those 50 days. You count those 7 Sabbaths, because on the 7th Sabbath at 1800 hours, Washington, D.C. time, which was midnight in Israel, which is the 7th Sabbath, Israel became a nation in one day, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah. That is when we knew it. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun is set. It is now the 7th Sabbath of the counting of the Omer. This is the day we celebrate when the Almighty gathered Israel back together as a nation again in this generation, starting the prophetic time clock for the end time. And this is Shabbat Night Live!